Hi, Nick Collier here, and this is my shop. Come join me. We'll have some fun. Okay, so we've got our more accurate chuck chucked up. We've got our piece in the chuck, and we have our radius attachment ready to go here. And it looks like it's just going to barely kiss that surface, but we'll do that, and okay, let's go. Well, it's a nice radius, but I don't think it's enough radius for what I want to do here. So what I'm going to do is rotate back here and drive this bit in a little bit, just so it's just beginning to touch. And that way it will catch it right. Alright, let's just see if it'll drive in. Yep. Yeah, we're going to miss just fine. So at this point we want to kind of come back, bring our rotation back to center. All right, that ought to do something. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to take this and we're going to jam that up into that pipe there, and it's going to bottom out on there. And then we want to take one of these casters and bring it up from underneath, drill a hole in this stud, and have the caster sitting there. But first thing we got to do is figure out what is the degree of this pipe, so that the caster can sit exactly perpendicular to the floor. So the way we're going to do that is we'll just drop a protractor in over here, and we're just going to kind of start fiddling with it until we get the right angle. Let me bring you in close. Okay, we're going to move just a little bit too. Well, so far that's definitely not the right angle. But if we bring this down just a little bit, Not quite. Somewhere right in there, I'm thinking. We'll bring this all further on down until it lines up with the pipe itself. We're just a little bit high. Oh, that looks good. Can you see it? Yeah, you can kind of see it. So, it's lined up. You're going to have to trust me on that one because I can't get the camera down far enough. So, we've got our angle. And what are we looking at here? Can you see it? I'd say it looks like about 6 degrees. So that's pretty easy. All right, so we've got our piece squared up. We've got it squared up with the edge of the vise. And so what we have to do is we have to find center first. And then we'll kick this head over 6 degrees, and that should be just about perfect to drop that in there. And then at the same time, we have to figure out a way to know what vertical looks like once we start to weld it together. But we won't worry about that right now. Okay, so let's bring it down. And we're not looking at super accurate here. We're looking at, you know, within 5 or 10 thousandths. And I think what I can do is just go ahead and eyeball this, find my edge, set my DRO, come back, find my other edge, and 141 thousandths, let's say 142 thousandths, 141.9. 1 inch, 419 thousandths. Let's read it right. So 1 inch, 419 thousandths, 7. So we'll go to 4 inch, 100, or 4 inch, 1 inch, 420 thousandths. So that would be a ½ inch, 210 thousandths. So we come back to a ½ inch, 210 thousandths. And that, I'm looking like it's putting it right in the center. Okay, so from right here, we take our head, we're sitting right on 0. And once again, we're not looking at, you know, trying to split a thousandths or even 5 thousandths. Hell, I mean a degree or 5 degrees. Hell, if we're within a degree of this, we're just fine. So we're going to loosen the head. And which way is this going to want to go? It wants to go that way, so we want the head to come this way. Nope, the other way. So we're almost at 2 right now. Not the other way. Okay, a little bit more. There's 2 degrees. Tighten up our head. Okay, so we've got the right angle. It turns out to be 2 degrees this way rather than 6 degrees, which is good. I'm glad I checked it. It looks like we want to be just a little bit deeper in, because by the time we get to the full-size bit, well, actually it's not too bad. Okay, so that's where we want to be there. We're going to lock our gibs, and there's where we drill our hole. Little pilot, or a little centering. Come back, hit it with a pilot. And let's see how deep we got to go here. We want to go at least as deep as this, and just probably a little bit deeper. Maybe about right there, and that's going to be easy as far as going all the way through that. So, hey, I'd say we're at 1 inch exactly. And there's 1 inch. Tell you what we're going to do is we're going to raise this. That looks pretty good. And then we can just use our metering gauge to come down 1 inch. All right, so we've got our 5, let's see if we can figure out how to point that out. There we go. Each of these goes in here. Each wheel goes on top of that. Of course, all of this is rotated around so that the wheel is on the floor. And then, and also the slider goes in between that. So this goes in the slider, and The slider goes up and down inside of here, and the wheel goes underneath all of that, like that. Oh, not too bad. Kind of like a large office chair. So we'll be back. This is enough for today for me, and we'll be back tomorrow. Well, Nick Collier here. Once again, it's, I don't know, a Tuesday morning. Raining cats and dogs out. You know, we are in the middle of El Nino, which is a storm pattern that comes through every, who knows how many years, a dozen years or something like that, and just dumps a hell of a lot of rain, which is exactly what California has needed for the last 2 or 3 years. So we got rain pounding on the roof, and we're going to crank up the Bridgeport here and continue with this project for NASA. And what we're going to do, I'll bring you in close. Now these bars are the legs, and they sit up at 2 degrees, a 2 degree angle. And what I want to do is I want to get a almost perfect seam going between this and the vertical bar. So we've kicked this head over 2 degrees, and we're going to come down and just round off that end piece there. So it's pretty simple. Everything's all set up. We're ready to go. Let's start rounding. And since my bit just isn't quite big enough to go a full 2 inches, I have to go down, kind of chew up the bottom part, move in a little bit, come back up, move in a little bit, come back up, and so on. And out towards the end, I've got the slot that I cut a while back. And what I want is I want that slot to be perpendicular to, or parallel with the cut here. And so I put a level on that. And get that thing to be level. And then a little pressure just to make sure we're squared up. And we're off and running again. All right, so it looks like there's just a little bit too much material for the 2-inch round piece of stock that's going to go up from here. So to me, I'm seeing if I take 1/8 of an inch off of each of these pieces, we'll probably have enough. We will have reduced enough to get everybody to fit in there tight. So we're going to take it over to the grinder over here and go ahead and do that. I think the first thing I want to do is go ahead and mark off how much I'm going to need to grind, and I'm seeing no more than that off of each of these little flanges here. Let's give that a try and see what it looks like. Now we come in at a 45, well, more of a 5 into 360, which would be, I don't know, that looks pretty good. All right, let's give it a try and see how it's going to work out. I'm thinking we're almost there. We just got to go a little bit further. So we'll go a little further and come back. Well, good morning, Nick Collier here, and we're going to continue to work on this NASA project. That's what I call it. What we have to do here, and I've got the motors, I think the motors are pretty well set up the way I want them to be set up. The center shaft of this gear reducer and the center shaft of that gear reducer wants to go right across the top of the center post. And so right now we've got just a little couple inches of test post in here. And what I need to do, the first thing I need to do is I need to keep everything as low as possible to the ground, so that if this thing tends to want to jump around a bit, it's not going to flip over. So these motors are going to be maybe 2 inches higher, and that's about it. So I think what we want to do is we're going to put the center post in, and we're going to weld all 5 spokes in place. And I think the center post needs to be about 1 foot tall, right about there. And then we can put the support out to the rotating pivots, and we'll go from there. So we're going to cut a 1-foot-long piece of this stuff and bring it over here and weld it in place. All right, so we've got 1 foot measured here, a little over 1 foot, but we're going to want to machine off one of those ends. So, and it doesn't really matter anyhow. So we've got it in the small saw because the big saw's got a really coarse blade on it, and this thing will cut and do just fine. So we'll leave you to it. All right, so we've got this blank of steel. And since it's a nice short piece, we'll do the radius on the outside first, then we'll cut it, then we'll turn it around and do the machine work on the back side. That'll be easier. Let's go. Okay, so now we're just a little bit oversized, so we're going to come in and just trim this back, and then we'll go cut it off, and then we'll cut the back side so that we can slide it inside of this piece of pipe. All right. Okay, we're all set up. Let's just cut this thing down. Okay, because we have a flat on the bottom of this ring here, I'm going to put a flat on this so we've got something to really bottom out on. And also, my threads couldn't reach all the way, so what I'm going to do is just drill this out just a little bit, and then we'll be able to get that thing to bottom out really well. Because we definitely don't want it coming loose. Not that this is going to weigh a lot. I'm guessing 400 or 500 pounds, but 400 or 500 pounds, that's enough. Now we're just looking for my tool. There it is. All right, let's take this in. A little bit more. There we go. Now let's put a drill bit in there and pick that up another size or two. should do the trick. Let's see what we've got now. Going in nice and smooth, and we're just starting to tighten up, and there it bottoms out. Perfect. All right, take this back off. This goes over on the table. And I think before we do this, we're going to put our pipe in here and bore that out just a little bit. Looks pretty straight. Well, this is our first opportunity to use our quick change boring head here, so we'll go ahead and do that. This is going to make a bit of noise because we're way out here, but I'm just going to take it easy. All we're really trying to do is just get rid of that rib on the inside. First cut on the plug, and we need to take a measurement of the inside, and we're not really particular because this is going to be welded anyhow, so who cares. So let's just get some veneer calipers and veneer it to death. All right. We are looking at 1/6 25, and we're sitting right now, oh, I don't know, a good 1/4 inch large, so we got some cutting to do. Yeah, nice snug fit. Not super tight, but it doesn't matter. Okay, so that is done. That's done. I think we're ready to weld. We'll leave that much for a bead, and let's go over and weld this thing.